Hey everybody, this is Beelit, and today I'm talking about some things in Sparking Zero that I'm not super fond of, that I really wish would be changed when it comes to the fighting mechanics. I'm only going to talk about a few things here, just some of the big things for me personally, that I'm just not really digging with the fighting. So we're going to get right into it. The first thing that I just absolutely hate, I'm just going to be honest with you, is the Z counter. I think it's the Z counter, maybe it's a super counter. I don't know the exact name of it, but I'm going to show you what I'm talking about here. Essentially, it is a resourceless combo breaker. There we go. It is a resourceless combo breaker. And I'm just not a fan of it. Now, the thing that you saw me do at the very end, that little follow-up with the super, I don't know if that's guaranteed or not, but this stuff, I don't like the idea of a resourceless combo breaker that is also going to give you an opportunity to deal more damage afterwards. The teleports and stuff, those are the things that you can do pretty simply, and they're normally decently effective. As far as like consistency goes, you'll normally get at least one of them in there. Well, I don't know. Actually, the farther that you go up when you're playing against other people, the more skilled people that you play against, it can get harder and harder to do some of those big hits. But realistically, I just feel like we shouldn't even be in that position in the first place when it comes to a resourceless combo breaker. Now, another reason why I'm really not a fan of this combo breaker is some of the ways that it interacts with the rest of the combo system. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about comboing after a step. You're going to see this here, and you're going to think, oh, wow, that's really, really effective. It's actually not, because none of that's real. If you actually, I'll show you a scenario here to kind of show you the drawbacks to this. This doesn't actually work. The opponent can actually just guard this. So let me make sure I do this right. This is going to be very hard, by the way. I don't know of a way to do this, to effectively do this outside of this menu thing. So forgive me if there is a better way. Yeah, I did it too early, actually. There you go. So you'll see here, you can't actually combo after the step if you just use regular square. It actually doesn't work. Now, maybe if you're behind the opponent, then you can get it. But if you're in front, it's actually not going to work. Now, I'm going to show you the actual way that you're supposed to get through that. Turns out, it's a rock, paper, scissors, actually. If I press down square, and I kind of hesitated with continuing the combo there, so it would have actually worked. I'll just kind of prove it here very quickly. See? If you do up square or down square, I don't believe left or right does anything. I might be wrong on that. But essentially, if you press up or down, the opponent has to make a guess on which one you did. If they guess correctly and they press up guard, then they'll block if you pressed up square. Same thing on down guard, down square. So it becomes a rock, paper, scissors on how you'll actually be able to stop it. But why? My question is why? Why is it that now I'm in a guessing game when I got the hit? It's so often in this game that you'll have clashing of light attacks, and so you'll have to go into a heavy in order to try to beat that clash. So when you actually hit somebody in the front with light attacks uncontested, you're still in a rock, paper, scissors just in your combos. All right. That's not factoring in the thing that we just talked about, which is the counter, the resourceless counter that can hit at any time based off of the person pressing up square. So you now have to factor in a rock, paper, scissors aspect into your combo structure. If you want to actually get, a decent chunk of damage, you have to factor in the rock, paper, scissors aspect while you're juggling the idea that they can do I'm just going to call it the Z counter. I don't know if it's actually called that. While they could do the forward square resources combo breaker at any moment, and so trying to be prepared for that. Then, of course, if you're doing things that are vanishable inside there, you can also get vanished. So you're managing these three aspects while you're hitting somebody, and at times it feels as though I feel personally that you're most vulnerable can be when you're hitting the opponent. You also will have to manage that there's another combo breaker in the game using the skill gauge. Then there are also skills like explosive wave that you can use while you're being hit as well. So some characters will have 5 things that they can do while you're hitting them. And so it makes you feel powerless in a lot of scenarios. When you're hitting someone, you just don't know what's going to happen. And that's not always a good feeling, considering all that you sometimes have to do in order to land that hit in the first place. One of the other things that I mentioned countering wise is something that uses the skill gauge. And I'm going to show that to you here as well. I'm going to show you what I'm talking about, because this also comes to some things I'm not really sure why. So here, you'll notice, and let me change the way that my gauges work here so that, oh, sorry, that's the wrong one. There we go. Here, so that you can see. Oh wait, did I not? Oh, I didn't do it. There we go. It takes 2 skill gauges to do that combo break. Now, the reason why I mentioned that is that while, yes, it's nice because it gets you out of most combos, you saw at the very beginning when I first used it, it actually didn't get me out of that. So there's scenarios where it doesn't work. But you'll notice it spins 2 bars. When you factor in that you have a 0 resource counter, why would you ever use this skill gauge to get out of a combo? Because as you saw there, it doesn't leave the opponent super far back. You're right back in the same scenario where the both of you are going to start mashing lights all over again, and then you'll have your teleport shenanigans as you're going through all of that. So it's really kind of like this. It's a very random scenario afterwards, but it doesn't get you out of the scenario. Is what I'm trying to say. Whereas the resourceless one gets you out of the scenario. So why would I spend 2 bars to do that when these skill bars can be very, very, very important? For instance, 3 bars automatically puts me into sparking. That is incredibly useful. So I'm throwing away 2 bars to kinda, sorta get out of a combo, but I'm right back in the situation of like that mash fest, of holy crap, am I going to get stuck right back in the same combo in literally half a second afterwards. I'm spending 2 bars for that when these resources can get me so much more. Like I just want to show you just how drastic this is here. Because I really want to make sure I'm driving home here just how valuable these skill gauges could be. I'm completely out of key, right? Now I'm in sparking. Okay, well, training mode just erases that. But let's see here. I'm gonna do this because I just want you to see. I just want you to see. Now I'm in sparking full key. Boom. I'm just doing stuff. Look at that. Look at that. I'm just doing it. I'm doing the thing. Boom. I'm doing the thing. Right? So you understand how valuable these skill gauges can be. Why would I bother? So there's so many things that can happen while you're comboing that I think that there's just too much. I think there's just too much inside of that. Then when we talk a little bit going on about, the combo structure, the vanishing, if you've watched gameplay of, maybe people in the higher ranks or maybe people playing offline, you're going to notice that they do this vanish. Some people call them vanish wars. They do this constant vanish, countering each other's hits. Well, the reality is it's not that hard to do. It's just not. And so realistically what happens is you can be in a situation where you have full key and you're in sparking. The entire time that you're in sparking, you'll have unlimited vanishes that you can do. So if you get stuck in a vanish war with somebody where you're just teleporting behind each other, trying to land that hit that knocks the person back, you can do this the entire time you're in sparking, right? And then once sparking ends, you now have your full stick of butter, your full 5 sections of key bars to go through vanishes before it ends. Now, the first time that you see it, you're going to think, oh, this is actually really cool. Like, I'm really excited. Who's going to win? The 25th time that you see it, it's not fun anymore. It's just not fun. It's simply not enjoyable. There's no more drama in it. Now you're just sitting here waiting for the thing to be over to see the rest of the fight. What I realistically think that they should do is probably limit these vanish wars to 3 vanishes from each person. All right. Once both people hit their 3 vanishes, go into a cutscene where they do a little clash. Maybe they have like a real quick line of dialogue. They backflip away from each other, and they reset to like this kind of neutral right here. And then to make it feel like it was worth actually fighting for, give both players a speed buff afterwards, right? Restore the key that they used in the vanish. Give them some kind of buff for the next 5-10 seconds. All right, maybe it's an attack buff, maybe it's a speed buff, but give them something for doing it. But don't get us trapped in this infinite loop of vanishing when we're just sitting here and waiting to actually play the game again. I think that it's just way too much. It's way too much, and it breaks the momentum of the match, not in a fun way. Only other thing for me to talk about here, I'm going to talk about skill gauge use one more time. When it comes to reflecting the key blast here. Let's see, where is this actually? Okay, there we go. And then I think I probably should just go ahead and put his key to max so we can just spam it. There we go. So here, using the perception, you're able to move the blast away, but you're spending 2 key gauges, 2 blast stocks, whatever. I don't know what you call these things. You're using 2 of the skill bars on this. And yeah, you get a little buff, but honestly, is it worth 2 of those gauges? I mean, maybe for some characters who have awful skills, maybe it's useful, but I don't want to do that. Because if I block it, I just take 374. That's not that bad, and I don't risk messing it up. But also, let's see if I'm actually going to just, I'm going to do vanish on it here. Hopefully my timing's all right. Oh, wait. Oh, of course, now it's not going to be now that I said what I'm going to do. I'm just like, oh, vanishing's easy, and now... There we go. Or I can just vanish it, and I keep my skill gauge, and a lot of times I can counter this afterwards. You know what I mean? Like, look at this. I just counter it afterwards in a lot of cases. So why in the world would I spend 2 bars of meter on the animation with a small, a very minor buff when those 2 gauges can go towards getting me into sparking 2 different times, and we all know how crazy sparking is, or 1 more gauge that I build up with those 2 bars can give me a really useful skill, which could recover all of my ki and put me into sparking with some of the top tier ones. I can use, a lot of times for 2 bars, I can activate Wild Sense. Like, those 2 bars can be used for much, much better things. And also, by the way, there are characters that have Explosive Wave inside of their blast stock as one of their moves. So that's a combo breaker that they can use as well if somebody ever gets behind them, which is one of the stronger periods of time. So is it worth it? Personally, I actually don't think so. I honestly don't think it's worth the 2 stocks used on this. So to kind of recap the issues here and some of my potential solutions, for the Z counter or whatever that forward square thing is, honestly, I just don't like the idea because we already have some breakers in the game. And so I don't like the idea of a resourceless breaker. Personally, I would really like to have it removed or to at least have some kind of resource attached to it. And I think realistically, if we are allowing the skill bar to be a combo breaker in one sense, and we're adding some mechanics over there, then I think for the Z counter, we should probably put ki on the table here. That you have to use some amount of ki in order to break using that counter. If you really were dead set on keeping it. Moving on to the skill gauge breaker, 2 bars for a break like that, I just don't feel is strong enough. I think if the no resource breaker is sending the opponent flying and allowing you to do follow-ups, then the 2 skill bar resource should be like hitting them with an ultimate. You know what I mean? But clearly I think that's broken. I wouldn't advocate for that. So what I would really push for is for the 2 skill gauge to get the person away from you in a very meaningful way, and maybe give you some kind of restorative property. So maybe it gives you a little bit of ki back as well. But it's got to do something other than just putting you in a scramble afterwards. Considering that, again, and I'm really pushing this because it's really a big deal. Because a no resource combo breaker is getting you out of the situation and even allowing you to follow up and do damage on your own. So yeah, that is just crazy to me. The combo after the step, that little rock, paper, scissors aspect, I just don't like it. There's a couple ways I think to tweak it. And if the concern was the worry about combos going on for too long, then just give it only 1 step that is able to combo, and just allow the knockback to apply afterwards if you don't do some sort of finisher and you're just mashing square. That's honestly where I would go. And if you do add the rock, paper, scissors aspect to it, then I still would only advocate for 1 step being able to be put into it, but give the comboer something special if they hit the rock, paper, scissors correctly, as opposed to just allowing them to continue to combo. Because realistically, at that point, they're fighting against the rock, paper, scissors. They're fighting against the resourceless combo breaker. They're fighting against potential skills that the opponent has things like Explosive Wave. They're fighting against the 2-bar Skill Breaker. They're fighting against Vanishes at the same time. They're very vulnerable when they're attacking. So you have to give them something, in my eyes. The Vanish Wars, I think three Vanishes, put it to a cutscene, reset the neutral, give both players a buff for hitting all of their Vanishes, and then let it ride from there. Right? Make the 10 seconds afterwards, the 5 or 10 seconds afterwards, have a little bit more drama to them. Because now whoever lands the next hit is going to be doing way more damage. Something like that. And then the perception with the beams, honestly, I don't even really know. I think if you have enough time to prepare the perception for the attack, I'd say just make it one bar. Honestly, 1 bar, give you a little bit of a buff, and go about your day. You know what I mean? I don't think 2 is necessarily reasonable. But let me know what you think in the comments. What are your concerns with the game? Do you like it? What would you change to the overall combat structure? Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.